Today I'm going to be covering how to get these Norman cleats off. This is a 1966 Boston Whaler, a 13-footer, and they use these Norman cleats back then. They're stuck on there to 66. If I'm doing my math right, these things have been on here for 53 years, and I don't think they've ever been taken off. They are solidly welded on, and I'll show you what these look like real quick. Do a close-up here. So these little guys right here. Now, to be fair, I started to take these off in the fall, or at least I attempted to. And what I ran into is that you can turn them, but they would not come off. They do unscrew in a counterclockwise direction. Should you be able to get them off? Now, in all honesty, I've been treating these since the fall with, I'm not going to say daily, but I've been treating them with liquid wrench at first, and then Freol, which is one of my favorite penetrating oils. So I got to get these off before I can do anything with the fiberglass. You'll start seeing a lot of videos on the glass work I'm going to do. Right now the inside of the boat's a mess, and that's okay. Gonna do some soda blasting, some fiberglass repair. I got some delamination I got to deal with. But before I do all that, we got to get these Norman pins off. So let me go ahead and get started with that. So the way to take these off is with vice grips, but you don't want to put the vice grips directly on them. It's going to mar them, and they'll look ugly as hell. What you want to do is get you an old leather belt, like these two pieces I have here. I cut these off of one of my belts. And then wrap those around the fat tip of the Norman pin. And get these as tight as possible. Get the other side. I'm gonna have to open it up some there. Once you get these on there, you're going to want to really move them back and forth. I'll give them another shot of Freol if I can hit it. And they should soak right in. And I'll show you how these pins work once I get another one of these out. And if you gently go back and forth, they'll give, just like this one just did. So this was quite the surprise. I was really pleased because when I'd done this last year, there was absolutely no give on these things. I'm just working it back and forth. I might be able to get this out by hand. Let's see. Now, the neat thing about leather is they stick to the teeth. Not quite, but it's coming out. It broke loose. That's the key thing. So I'll work these out, and we'll get another set of these Norman pins out and show you what we're looking at. So here's what come out of it. This is a 66. So we're looking at what, 58, 57 years worth of corrosion. These things have probably never been removed. As a matter of fact, you can tell that they've been painted over in a lot of cases. But we got them out, and I'm going to get the rest of the pins out, and then we'll go on to restoring them. Before I go any further with these Norman pins, one of the things I want to do is get this corrosion off. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about here. There's 53 or so odd years of corrosion sitting on these things. What I'm going to do is wire brush these. I've got a soft wire brush wheel on the mini mill. I'm not going to try to tackle this just yet. I'm going to wet sand these and then I'll polish them up so you can see what that ends up looking like. But let me get to it. Let me get the corrosion off of the screw that's on there. And here's what we have. It's a little bit better. I'll probably use a small steel brush to get the rest of it off. Might even give it a soak in vinegar. The whole idea is to get the brunt of that corrosion off, which I was able to do. So the next step I'm going to do is wet sand this. And once we get it wet sanded, that's this end. Once we get it wet sanded, I'll put a nice polish on it. So let me go ahead and get some, I got some 400 and some 600 grit wet sandpaper, and I'll do this in the kitchen sink. Don't tell my wife. So I've got an old utility bowl here. I've got the Norman pins, and I've got some 600 grit sandpaper. So at this point, it's really just a matter of putting some elbow grease into it. I prefer to do this. I've tried the wire wheel, and it doesn't really seem to do anything in terms of giving you a final finish. The 600 grit should let me put this on a polish wheel and get the desired finish I want, which is a shiny, bright brass finish. Anyway, this is what we're looking for. Get through all that dark stuff, get to the bright. I've got a long way to go on this. I'm not going to bore you with the whole sanding process, but I'll get this and as well as the other Norman pins sand it down, put them on the buffer with some polishing rouge, and then get them nice and shiny. I'll show you what that looks like in the end. If you don't have a polisher or if you don't have a grinder with a polishing wheel, you could probably get away with a metal polish like Noxon or something like that. It'll involve a little bit more elbow work, but I think it will work out fine if you do that. So I've got these sanded down with 600 grit, and I'm going to go ahead and hit them with the polishing wheel again, see what happens. So I finished with the polishing wheel, and I want to show you what the finished product looks like. Let's take a close look at this. See, it's nice and shiny. There's still some staining on it, so I think I'm going to go over it again one more time with the 600 grit wet sand. Polish it one more time, but it actually looks pretty good, I think. Now what we need to do is get all the paint and restoration done on that old Boston whaler, and we can put these pins back on. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this and learned something. If you do, hit like, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.